Okay, so this is problem 13.4.11, and they ask us to complete the first 2 months of each amortization schedule for a fixed rate mortgage. And you can't really see that. Anyways, they tell us that the mortgage is $143,400. The interest rate is 4.9%. And the time is 14 years. And essentially what they're asking us to do is calculate the first 2 rounds of the amortization schedule. Okay. With the interest rate being 4.9%, we're going to work with the decimal equivalent, which is 0.049. Okay. All right, so the first thing that we need to do is calculate the monthly payment for the principal and the interest on this mortgage. So we're going to use that formula. It's the monthly payment formula. It's R is equal to, let's see, I don't have it memorized. Let me look it up. I think it's R over 12. No. So it's P times R over 12 all over 1 minus 12 over 12 plus R, and that's raised to the 12t. Okay. All right, so the P is the principal. That's the starting amount on the mortgage. The R is our interest rate, and the T is our time in years. Okay, so if we plug each of those in, then we are looking at R is equal to 143,400, and then we have times R over 12, so that is 0.049 over 12 divided by 1 minus 12 over 12 plus 0.049, and that is being taken to the 12 times t, so that's 12 times 14. Okay, all right, so now we need to calculate this. So how you plug this into your calculator is important, because if you plug things in the wrong order, then you're going to end up getting a wrong answer. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take 0.049 and divide by 12. And I'm going to get, you can't really see it there, I'll just write it down. I get 0.0040833, a bunch of 3's. Okay, so this is going to be equal to so R is, we have the 143,400 times, we said that we went ahead and multiply or did this division right here, and I ended up with 0.00408 and then a bunch of 3's. Okay, in the bottom it's going to be 1 minus, so it's 1 minus this taken to that power. Now I'm going to go ahead and do this division first, and then after I do that, I'm going to have to take it to that power before I can subtract from 1. So first of all, if we just go ahead and get 12 times 14, this number right here is 168. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 12 and divide it by, in the bottom that's 12.049. Hit enter, you're going to get 0.9959. And then you want to take that to this power right here. So you're going to have to use either the X to the Y button or a caret button, or you're going to have something like that on your calculator that will allow you to take it to an exponent of 168. Okay, and when you do that, you'll get 0.504290283. Okay. All right, so we need to multiply on the top, do the subtraction in the bottom, and then we'll just have to divide. So 143,400. And then times my 0.004 number. So in the top I get 585.5499522. The more decimals you use as you carry out this problem, the more accurate you're going to be. And when we get down to the end, we actually want to round it to cents because we're talking about money. So in the bottom here, then you're going to end up getting 0.495709717. Okay. All right, so if I divide those two, divided by then we get this right here, 1181, and then if I round this now, 24 cents. Okay. All right, so this is the monthly payment, and that monthly payment, this is just involving principal and interest. And remember, if you've been going through the homework, your actual monthly payment will involve taxes and insurance as well, and possibly mortgage insurance, depending on how much you put down. Okay. All right, so that's principal and interest. So if we go back and look at this here, they asked us to fill out the amortization schedule, and you can see that they've given us a little chart here to fill out. Okay, so I'm going to walk us through that chart. I'm going to write it quite a bit bigger though. So this chart, they have a payment number, and then they have the total payment, column for total payment. Then they have a column for the interest payment. I'm just abbreviating the word payment there. And then principal payment. And then we want to know the balance of the principal. Okay. All right. So the first thing is you're always going to start with just having the balance of your principal on the first line when you're doing an amortization schedule. The first payment, the total payment is what we just found right here, the $1181.24. If you want to find the amount that's going to go to interest, then you need to take a look at what's happening just in 1 month on this loan. Okay, so what we would do to calculate that is we would use our formula. Interest is equal to principal times rate times time, and we would calculate what's happening in terms of interest for 1 month. Okay, so the principal on the loan, $143,400. The rate is 0.049, and the time that we're looking at is just 1/12 because time is always represented in years, and because we're talking 1 month out of a year, then we're looking at 1/12 of a year. Okay, so if I multiply all of that, then you get 585.55 cents. Okay, so that's the amount that's going to go to your interest that you're paying on interest every month. Now, that amount right here, this interest payment, is a portion of this total payment, right? Remember that your total payment is interest and principal. So if I want to figure out how much is going to principal, then I'm just going to take these two numbers right here and subtract them, because the interest and the principal have to add to be the total payment. So if I just do a subtraction, then I can calculate the principal payment. So 1181.24 minus the 585.55, and I get 595.69. Okay. And if you want to know the balance on the principal, then what we're going to do is take this amount right here, this 595, that amount was applied to the principal, and so if we subtract this from the principal, that tells us what our new balance is. Okay, so 143,400, and then minus the 595.69, and your new balance is 142,804.31 cents. Okay. Now, to calculate the next line, your total payment is still going to be the same, but your interest and your principal payment is going to change just slightly, and that's because you're going to be paying interest on the remaining balance of the principal. So you're not going to pay interest on this 143 number for the life of your loan. You pay interest on the amount that you actually owe. I'm making a video. Can you come in? and just hold on 1 minute till I'm almost done. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do then to calculate this, these two right here, is we're just going to use this now as our principal amount. Okay, so if we calculate that, then we have, using the same formula here, PRT, our principal number is 142,804 and 31 cents. We still have an interest rate of 0.049, and we're still looking at 1 month. Okay, so if we multiply those, then we have 583 and 12 cents. Okay, so that goes here, 583 and 12 cents, and then we're going to do the same thing. If we want to find out the principal payment, take these two and subtract. So 1181.24 minus the 583.12, so we get 598.12. And if we now subtract that number from the balance on the principal, then we'll have the new balance. Okay, so 142,206 and 19 cents. And then an amortization schedule, this just continues for the life of the loan. And that's why whenever you buy a house, they'll print something like this out for you. Okay, that's it on this problem.